Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me. Hello, Holly. How are you doing today, love? Um, took a second for the connection to be made so that it went live. For some reason, my computer's lagging today. So, whatever. It was nice to see everyone on Kara's live, Dosha Rocks. If you want to look at leftovers, check her out on Facebook, Dosha Rocks, or dosharocks.com. She does have 22% off her entire website right now. So if you're in the market for some sparkly shinies, then hit her up. We're going to go ahead and jump right into the collective reading today. This is collective energy. This is not going to be specific to any one elemental sign. Those will begin tomorrow. We'll do earth and air tomorrow, fire, water on Wednesday. So let's get right into it. Okay. I'm going to start bottom of the deck energy. Hey, Matt. We have silent retreat here with silence. This is going within, meditating, connecting to your higher self, to your guides, to, higher power, whatever it is for you. Because we do have themes right now. We have almost showing up here. This did come out of the deck itself with family. This card shows the mirror. Oh, hey, Susan, I don't see your comments, love, but hello. So on this card, there's a reflection in the mirror of a family. The reflection is broken. The mirror is broken. This can talk about rifts in the family, the family kind of breaking apart. Hello, culture envy. Um, family issues, but it can also talk about generational traumas, what people call curses. Um, so we tend to carry these because it is encoded in our DNA. Hello, Cassandra. Um, we also do have healing and strengths and gifts encoded in our DNA, right? But this right now is talking about going within. There are a lot of traumas surfacing right now, both known and unknown. These could be traced back to genetic patterns, carried within your DNA, just things that we tend to be the ones to break, right? We tend to be the ones to heal, to correct those. And we can be also deemed black sheep of the family. I know I am. I was excommunicated from my family almost a year ago now. Christmas will be a year. So good times. But usually the one that breaks the cycle that says the toxicity ends with me is the outcast of the family, because that's been adopted by the rest of the family as something that is normal, something that is just a theme of our family, something that we all just kind of don't speak about. We sweep it under the rug and we just continue to inflict these traumas, these patterns on one another. And you may be that one that's saying, no, that stops with me. This is toxic. I'm not handing that shit down to my children, or however this manifests for you. But family themes are coming to the forefront. There is so much right now going on energetically, and I know you guys know with the Schumann whiteouts, they've been off the hook for a while now, but more specifically over the past several days. We have the astrology, everything, the stars are aligning to bring these traumas, these pains, these toxic patterns to the surface so that they can finally be healed and corrected, both for us on an individual level within our own familial bloodlines, but also the greater collective. We have collective themes that are surfacing, things that we can no longer pretend that we're not seeing, pretend that aren't there, right? Politically, with regard to, you know, um, race, gender, ethnicity, all of these different things. So it's getting pretty ugly because things are surfacing that aren't so great to look at, but we have to acknowledge them. We have to come together to formulate a plan on how to heal these and move forward as a collective. But also, again, as energy tends to do, we'll have the collective themes, but then we will have the trickle down effect where it's like, okay, this, this group of like-minded individuals have things surface, and then those individuals have things surface for their closer groups, whether that's family, friends, work, whatever. And then individually we'll have these themes surfacing for us on the individual level, and most often we tackle them, we face these shadows and things on an individual level before it really starts to become on the collective scale, right? But before we really get to that point, we all have our own practice runs, so to speak, in our individual experiences. So a lot of themes coming up for resolution right now. You may be feeling very overwhelmed. You may be feeling very emotionally raw right now. And now is the time to honor those emotions, to sit with those emotions. And that's why we have that silent retreat coming out, is because we need to really honor these emotions, give them the validation, the attention, and then feel them properly, because so many times these kinds of things can be too painful or too overwhelming for us to deal with. So we just want to kind of shove them off to the side and pretend like they're not there. But they are going to continue to get bigger and bigger, louder and louder until we address them. And that's what we're seeing right now. Those who have done the work are feeling these spikes a lot less from those who ignore the work. Yes and no. It really depends on the individual's path. I do agree, Matt, that those who have been doing the work, who have been really spending a lot of time with their own shadows, especially over the last few years, are more, I would say, better equipped to handle what's coming up right now, more emotionally balanced to be able to work through these things. But yes, so we're all, everyone at some level is dealing with these, but you're right, the impact is going to be, I don't want to say a lesser degree because it is very impactful still, but I guess the, what's the word? Words are fleeting right now. I guess the sting of it isn't as great because we're more at that balanced space. We've already worked on those emotions and things. So, and also, right? Like, we're not at all surprised by what's happening. It's just like, oh, we got front row tickets to the shit show. Here we go. Hey, Kara. So yeah, I will say yes and no to that, because there are some who have done a lot of work that, may be triggered by something completely out of left field for them, because, you know, we've addressed these things, we've dealt with these things, we've been focused on healing these things. So why am I being triggered in such a big way right now? So however you are feeling the impact of this, there is no right or wrong. There is no better or worse. It's, we're all in it together. Adjusting to the frequency spikes is becoming easier for those who cleared the clutter. Yeah, I'll agree with that. Yes. Maybe that's what you were saying, but I didn't quite grasp. I don't know. Whenever a comment comes up, I address it in a way that anyone else who is watching later that maybe not and on the comments on the live portion of the show, that way they can also really get a firmer grasp on what it is that we're talking about. So thank you, Matt. Always bringing up points for me to elaborate on, whether you want me to or not. Y'all know me. That's all right. Okay, so we do have vision showing up that did come out next to that Omo card, the family card. And this is the light and the dark, right? The shadow and the light, the sun and the moon, positive and negative, all of these things. So Contrast. Contrast brings your vision into sharper focus. When you experience an aspect of your manifestation journey where you're like, this isn't quite what I had in mind, or this isn't really what I'm working towards, or this is not something that I want to experience moving forward. So let's just go ahead and address this, use what I've learned from this, add that as fuel to the fire for the manifestation, like the ultimate outcome energy. So, also, when we have our shadows surface, say you're on the path of light, okay, you're a light worker, a star seed, or whatever you want to call it, whatever label you're comfortable with, and you're on the spiritual path. Sometimes we can get so caught up in the vision that we originate with, okay, and we might not be reaching as high as we could. So we'll have some kind of a situation manifest that brings some contrast, like, oh, you thought you wanted this kind of energy incorporated, or this person incorporated in whatever your outcome energy is, but maybe you didn't see certain things about that aspect, that person, or that situation, that you just kind of like threw that in there, like, oh yes, the more the merrier. But it doesn't always work out that way. People are masking still, the masks are falling, yes, but people are still going to try to assume the energy or the position or whatever it is that they want to project out to the world, what they want others to see about them. So you may be seeing, and this is a downfall of everyone in the spiritual community, just about, is we want to see the best in everyone or the best in every situation. So, sometimes that can cause us to gloss over some red flags or dress them up as like, oh no, that's orange. That's not red. That's orange. Um, but you can't really continue to deny that if it's caught your attention. Your guides, your spirit team, your higher self, whoever has brought that to your awareness for a reason. So they will guide you deeper. They will get you to go deeper into that energy to where, the space to facilitate the growth of that energy. Hi, Anna. Is held. Okay. So your guides will be like, oh, okay, you think this is what you want? So let's take it deeper. Let's go in a little deeper. Let's see if this is really, really what you want. Right. So they'll bring you deep into the situation and really show you all the facets of this situation, this person, this whatever. Until you're like, oh, that's not what I actually want. It's what I thought I wanted, but I wasn't seeing it clearly enough. So therein lies the lesson, right? So we take that contrast, that lesson, and then we pick our ass up and move on down our path, and we make adjustments accordingly. So, contrast coming to the surface. Ultimately, for your highest good, we do have stability with Sarki right here. This is, like the King of Wands, but also very much like Pentacles energy as well. This card for me is just like grounded fire. You know what I mean? This is like, I know what I want and I'm going towards it. I'm taking that inspired action. I'm ready, right? So this contrast perhaps highlighting thought patterns or generational beliefs that might have held you back from the ultimate manifestation, the ultimate outcome that you want. No worries, Kara. Thank you. I love you. Drive safely. This is a lot of people will get so just let down when things don't manifest in the way that they hoped they would, or it's taking too long for this to manifest, or for me to get that opportunity or that person or that whatever that I want. It just really sometimes takes the wind out of your sails, especially if you fancy yourself a master manifester, someone who's really good at manifesting what it is that they want, really good at achieving outcomes, by just directing their mental energy. And People can get so just down in despair, thinking, oh, well, I guess I'm not as good as I thought, or maybe this is my karma. Maybe I was a rotten person in a past life, or, whatever way their mind wants to try to make sense of the situation, but it brings their frequency down. Um, and then that opens you to more unfavorable manifestations. But this energy is saying, no, keep it clean. Okay. Keep your energy clean. Don't allow these setbacks to completely despair you to the point where you can't pick yourself back up and manifest that outcome, or you decide to, veer off of your path and just go do some crazy shit because you're like, oh, screw it. It's not working. It's not working on my time. So screw it. I'm just going to throw my hands up and I'm just going to go, do XYZ elsewhere. Seduction. And this is the equivalent to the devil card in the tarot. But they're saying don't be seduced by the broken image, okay? Because the mirror is just trying to reflect back to you where you can make these adjustments, where you are energetically on some level. Because once we are peeling back the layers, once we're on this spiritual journey and we really go into our shadows and we're peeling back the layers and we're cleaning out the clutter, it's like your guides kind of have to work a little extra overtime to throw situations at you where you have to overcome them. And it's not that they're trying to do this to you all the time, that they're trying to victimize you, or I'm not saying that this is what you're going to manifest, but at times we will face situations like this where we've come so good at what we do, or at manifesting what we want, or we've gotten so far on this path that we feel is our journey, our path, our purpose, that whenever we get thrown something out of left field that stops us, and we're like, I don't know how to overcome this, because everything that I've done in the past to overcome or to create new opportunities or to, whatever, none of that's working. So this must just not be for me. This is the point right before you level up. Okay. And we've talked about this a lot before. Is it the level of difficulty becomes greater because it forces us to really put into practice everything that we've learned and all of the tools that we have gathered thus far on our journey, to really not so much prove it to ourselves and the universe, but more so to be done. Like, this is final energy. We broke that mold and we're moving on to the next. So whenever the next comes in, it's bigger, it's better, it's what it is that we've been working on manifesting, but we have to really overcome that King Koopa of the level before we can move on to the next level. This is leveling up. So take this energy as your words are failing me today. I don't know what it is. As your encouragement, okay? That you're almost there. This is your signpost, like exit is right up ahead. Don't stop now, because you're about to get off this path and go on to that path that you've been working on, where the abundance flows, where the love, the community, the self-love, whatever it is that you're after, whatever it is that you're creating, that's whenever it can come in for you. My computer completely lost the connection, so I'm just going to be working off my phone. If I don't acknowledge your comments, you guys, then that's why. I don't know. What the hell? I don't know. Now the comments aren't showing up right as I said that. It shows email. So hopefully you guys can hear me. Hopefully I'm still live. I don't know what the internet is doing right now. I don't even have the Wi-Fi connected to my phone. So I don't know if I'll be able to see your comments. If you do tell me, you can still see me. Anyway, I'm refreshing to see. Connect to server. I don't know what is happening here. Okay, I don't know. The TV is still on. I have a little one that's homesick today, so I still hear the TV on. Something the Wi-Fi's fine. It's just the computer. Okay, so don't be seduced by the lower frequency thoughts, the intrusive thoughts that come in. There it goes. Don't be seduced to fall back into old patterns of thought or behavior at this time. This is the time for you to fully shed those once and for all. And we do have the universal oneness card showing up here with transcend. Okay. There we go. Okay, cool. Thank you, Matt. I just saw your comment finally after I refreshed the page. Okay, cool. Susan, I don't know why I can't see your comments, my love. It does that to a few people. Anna has to use her old YouTube so that we can see her comments. It's crazy. Anywho, transcend. This is you transcending all of those blocks, all of those thought patterns or energetic patterns that may have been handed down to you through your genetic bloodline. This is you transcending that and coming into true universal oneness, which is I am one with all that is. You know, the divine, the creator, source, God, Buddha, whoever, whatever, you know. This is really fully understanding that I am not outside of what is. Everything is connected. Everything is one. Everyone and everything. So you start to really make the connections in your reality and knowing, oh, I'm not separate from my abundance. I'm not separate from having love, having connections, having, friends, soul family. We've got community out here with Hood Love. So this is, you know, realizing that, wow, I truly am connected to all that is. I don't know why it's not showing me my comments. Sorry, that's bothering me. I can see them on my laptop now, so that works. My mind after solar flare yesterday, I was stretched, then slowly came back. It was far out. Awesome, Matt. So being unbothered, not being seduced back into these old patterns. This is you as this page of swords learning, okay? Learning the path, walking the path. You are, we know life doesn't come with an instruction manual, but this could be you diving into esoteric wisdom. This could be you, doing research or just going within and doing the research. You're connected to all that is. You are one with everything. And once you start to really open up and understand that, then you can connect to any kind of information and have the answer if you go within, if you meditate, or if you just open up to it, kind of like, whenever I do, if I'm like, someone asks me a question and I'll be like, oh, I don't know the answer to that one. I'm just going to keep going and they'll be like, oh, yes, I do. I know the answer. Here it is. And then I'll just lay it out, is because I'm an open channel. So I don't really discount anything that comes through. I just allow it to come through and I'm like, oh, cool. I just learned something new too. So it could even be as much as that, just really doing your own soul research. And if you want to do some kind of like a past life regression, I offer past life regressions, quantum hypnosis, whatever it is, let me know. My website is right here. It doesn't show up on my phone for some reason, but it shows up on my computer screen. So I have to see where I'm at to point at it. But if you want to book with me, here it is, rebelspiritrising.com. Thank you, Matt. So learning more about yourself, more about your own journey, your soul's journey, or just really keeping your nose down, and continuing to walk your path, knowing that, yes, obstacles may come up, things might get in the way, situations may arise that I have to pour more of my energy into, and maybe I can't reach for my goals at that time, but that's okay. It doesn't mean that you're never going to be able to do that again. It's just like right now, you need to prioritize. You need to prioritize yourself first and foremost, your mental and emotional energies. Remain balanced and grounded as often as you possibly can. set an alarm on your phone throughout the day to say, hey, don't forget to ground yourself right now. And maybe in points of the day where you might feel a little less grounded, and you've got a lot going on, so you're not thinking about, oh, I need to stop, take a breath, I need to ground myself, rebalance myself. So set some alarms on your phone, just random ones throughout the day, to remind you, hey, ground right now. And you can just take a few seconds, pause, deep breathe, ground yourself, and keep going. But that will help you to feel more balanced. I love you, Holly. I don't know if you're talking to me, but I hope, but I love you anyway. Yeah, YouTube needs to get their shit together. I agree. 100%, Matt. But this is you, Seven of Wands, remaining in your own bubble, in your own energy, remembering to ground, remembering, that spiritual hygiene, y'all. It's real, okay? Especially right now with all of the solar activity. We got geomagnetic storms, we've got a bunch of transits that are happening. It's just off the hook. So you're going to want to continue to ground yourself, continue to do your spiritual hygiene, to ensure that you're not picking up energies and tainting your own energy as you're going throughout the day. Okay. Okay, Holly, good. I love you. So we have the Strength card, also bottom of the deck energy. This is a card of Leo as well. But with the Strength card, yes, you've been forging yourself. Life circumstances have been forging you. We're forged in the fire, you guys. Sometimes it's easier than others, but let's face it, it hasn't been a picnic for anyone lately. No matter what degree you're feeling the impact of these energies, it hasn't quite been a picnic, okay? It's not that New Earth 5D energy that you're in 24/7, like, la, la, la. It's not that lately. It's shitstorm after shitstorm. Even just minor inconveniences, like someone cutting you off. Like this morning, somebody cut me off on the way back from school. Why are you in such a hurry to get right in front of me? And I literally was behind this person until like a half a block from my house whenever they turned to go to their house. And I'm like, what was the point of that? I just kind of laughed it off, like, you dummy. So, even the smallest little inconveniences, like, really, what are you thinking? Like, I hope it's because you didn't have your coffee yet and you're just making dumb decisions, because that was stupid. Not going any faster than me. You could have waited, but yeah, nonetheless, but you are, lately may have been on pause. We have the Seven of Pentacles and the Chariot card showing up both next to each other. 7 and 7, by the way. Chariot is card number 7 with that Seven of Pentacles. It could look like nothing is growing on the surface. You could maybe have this little itty bitty twig with some leaves on it, or maybe not much growth whatsoever, but look at the root system. Okay. And when this card came out, and I was like, oh shit, the Seven of Pentacles is coming out in the reverse, and then Chariot in the reverse. I'm like, what's going on? It was like, it's not that it's not growing. It's just that you don't see the growth above the surface because everything's happening below the surface. The root system is becoming well established so that it can take in all of those nutrients, all of that nourishment, all of the water, and really start to grow in a big way. Okay. It's not just going to be a little sproutling and then take, weeks or months until it finally grows a few inches or whatever. It's like, no, you might not be seeing everything above the surface that's going on, but the growth is in the earth. It is in the ground. It's becoming well-established root system so that it can suck up as much nutrients as it possibly can so that it can grow big and beautiful. Just because you don't see what's happening below the surface doesn't mean that things are not establishing themselves. So the Chariot card and the Seven of Pentacles are both saying not yet, but it is 7/7 energy. 7 is a lucky number, especially like 777. You see like casinos or like on like scratch it tickets or whatever. People consider 7 a lucky number. So it's not that things aren't happening in your favor. It's just that they are establishing a deeper root system so that they can endure for much longer, so that they're not just taken out by the first little storm that comes through. And this is you're establishing this root system. I mean, look at those pentacles on those roots. Okay, think of it as a little potato plant. Like, you never know how many potatoes are really on those roots until you dig up the plant, right? So, I mean, I don't know if any of you guys have ever farmed potatoes, but I did as a kid. I had an uncle, a great uncle in Oklahoma that we would go visit in the summertime, and I would help him harvest veggies out of the garden, and it was a really beautiful experience for me. But I had no idea until then, which I was probably like 5 when I found out, but the potatoes grew on the roots of the plant, and that the plant looks different than potatoes, and you don't know how many potatoes are down there until you pull that plant up and you're like, oh my gosh, gold mine. I couldn't believe it how many potatoes were on those roots. So just because you don't really see what's going on the surface doesn't mean that things aren't establishing themselves behind the scenes. Your foundations are being very well established right now. You've been putting in the work. We've got Three of Pentacles, which does talk about collaborations. And we had that community card right above that with Hood Love Community. So establishing connections. This could be like networking and establishing those kinds of connections, or neural connections. I'm getting, like, if you are reprogramming yourself, you're forming new neural pathways. So I'm literally seeing these neural pathways, these connections be made and establishing new neural pathways. And when you do that, you establish new behaviors, new ways of thinking, new ways of being. Okay. So, don't be seduced into the old patterns of thought or behavior, because you're making new neurological connections. So, don't be surprised if all of a sudden one day you wake up and you start doing things differently in some aspect of your life or another. And, things really begin to take off, because that's what's happening. The system, the connections are being made beneath the surface. And, you don't see your new neural pathways being formed. Physically, you can't look in and see. Not everyone can. Some people can. Some people can. I've met one. But you don't always see what's going on when you're forming these new connections, until all of a sudden one day you're just thinking differently, or you're doing things differently. So you are setting yourself up, and your spirit team, your guides, your whoever you work with, are setting you up for this new venture. Okay, for this new energy. You're about to step out into this new beautiful energy. This is excitement. This is passionate. We've got Knight of Wands on the bottom of the deck, and right behind him we got the Knight of Cups, man. Well, her, she's a her on this card. But we've got two knights, Wands and Cups. That's passion, excitement, fulfillment, love, connections with others. You could be, like I said, networking or establishing connections within your career field, or within like your extracurricular activities, whatever those may be. A few of you guys have some really beautiful ones. Like Katie has her beautiful meditation group that she does. She's in Scotland and she's making it happen, forming these connections with these people in her community and doing beautifully. They're just so many different ways that this can manifest for you in your own experience. But with all of the community energy showing up in the cards today, and this universal oneness card, I'm really getting like, yeah, we have been working on ourselves individually, but simultaneously we're forming these connections, these larger communities. This is how New Earth is born, right? We get rid of the toxicity, delete the toxic programming, we reprogram ourselves, we form communities, groups, all of us here online, and we expand, right? We just continue to live our lives and live by example, and others start to follow. Others, will start to come in. We have, I know there's a saying, I'm just gonna like butcher the hell out of it, but the gist is, like-minded people coming together for a common goal. Okay, so I don't even remember what the saying was that I was going to try to say, but you know what I mean. We're all coming together. We're forming this community. We're forming the new earth. We are realizing these toxic patterns that have been regurgitated over millennia, and now we're awakening to just how toxic those things are. Through all of this, I'm forgetting who I was and what I used to do. That's good, Holly. I get up in the morning and sit on the porch until bedtime. That's beautiful though. You're outside, you're in nature, you're observing your surroundings. You got, insects and animals and all kinds of stuff happening around you. You're tuning yourself with nature, like a little tuning fork. So, hi Lyra. Lyra just opened the door to come in. Hi baby. Don't try jumping up on my desk right now. I'm working. Um So anyway, Manifestor is showing up right here with creation. We had that Knight of Wands right there talking about, creative flow, talking about inspired action. This is you, taking that inspired action. You might have been, like I said, on pause or hindered in some way, some kind of blockages or hurdles to overcome, but they were never meant to dissuade you from your path. They were never meant to take you off your path. They were meant to impact you in such a way where, yeah, maybe you would be a little let down, go back and, withdraw within yourself, but then you come back bigger, badder, and stronger than before because you realize that this is my purpose, this is what I truly want, and I'm not giving up. So that is what gives you that fire to push forward. We have devotion showing up here. This helps to really fine tune your devotion to self, to your own path, to what it is that you truly want to create for yourself in this life. And all of these obstacles or these, roadblocks or hurdles, they're all just meant to stimulate that healing energy that you carry within you. If I was stuck inside, I would be in the wrong frame of mind, dwelling about the things I can't do. This is healthier for me. Absolutely. And it's you out there grounding and really, fine tuning yourself with nature because you are so in tune with nature. The cigarette smoking probably isn't helping though. Yeah, I'll agree with that. But, it's your path. You will overcome it in your own time if that's what you truly want to do. So I fully support you no matter what, Miss Holly. It's all good showing up on the bottom of the deck over here. These triggers are meant to trigger the purge, okay? And they're happening for your highest good. That's why this card is coming out on the bottom of the deck. It's all good. Even when you're being so highly triggered that, you feel like you just can't take it anymore, that's when you decide to create change. That's when you are open to inspiration, to taking steps towards something new, stepping outside of that comfort zone, because now the comfort zone is no longer comfortable. I'm miserable. I can't stand it here. I don't want to continue to live this way. So now I'm going to be a stubborn ass, maybe a Taurus. But that is the death card out of this deck. But, bullheaded Taurus energy really comes to mind whenever we're talking about this. So, and I know because I'm stubborn as shit. You ask anybody who's known me since I was a child, if I have, something in mind or a direction that I'm going, you cannot dissuade me from my path. Like I'm open to seeing things and at this point, now after living some life, because before it wasn't really that way, but I am open now to seeing things from a new perspective or to hearing other people's thoughts and views. But if I know in here that this is for me, you're not going to convince me otherwise. Period. End of fucking story. Like I am so stubborn, but that is a good quality. Okay. You cannot be moved. You cannot be shaken whenever you know what's right for you. Okay. So, sometimes we'll have major impacts that causes us to be like, you know what? I don't care if the whole damn universe is trying to be against me. This is what I want. I have the clarity. I know exactly my purpose. I don't care what you throw at me. I'm gonna come back bigger, badder, and stronger than before. I'm gonna show you what's up. Okay. So, some of us just are stubborn little asses and we have to be handled by the universe in that way. Others of us are more, open and impressionable to whatever direction. But some of us have that stubborn flair, that rebel spirit. Okay. Y'all, all y'all's are rebel spirits up in here. Okay. So did so much purging late last night or late last 2 years. I don't know why I read late last night. Lately, the last 2 years, it's refreshing to be done with most of it. Ascension symptoms are more physical for me now, aches and body pain. Body is buzzing with energy. Yeah, and it will, I'm glad you brought that up, Anna, because it does evolve. Like, you won't be so mentally impacted or you won't be so emotionally impacted. Then you'll start, experiencing physical symptoms where you're purging physically. And that's kind of like the last part of it, because energetically everything happens energetically before it takes on a tangible result, right? So I'm glad that you brought that up, because other people might not really be aware of that, and I don't always think to mention things like that. So thank you, Anna. But yes, healing goes in cycles. Healing is a spiral, right? So we'll come back around to it and maybe perceive it in a different way or experience it in a different way. And that can translate from mind, emotions, physical body. So I'm really glad that you brought that up, Anna. Thank you. But don't allow yourself to be seduced back into old patterns of thought, behavior, of, thinking that you're not worthy or that you're doing something wrong, because you're not. You are just purging this at a much deeper level. So sometimes circumstances have to get to the point where, they're intolerable so that you can pivot, so that you are finally like, fuck this shit. I'll do it in a different way, but I'm going to be going towards the same outcome regardless. So, wasn't supposed to be late there. Oh, that's okay, Anna. No worries. I got the gist. um, so retreat within, yes, but don't retreat from the goal. Don't retreat from the path. This is go within, sit in the stillness and the quiet, and allow yourself to be open to seeing new aspects of the situation, or to be open to learning the lesson to begin with. It just depends on where you are in your journey. Card number 44 right behind that, home. Don't feed anything that's draining your light. Exactly, Matt. Don't feed the strays, right? And we're not talking about cats. Feed all the stray cats. Just don't feed the stray drains on your energy, right? So home, this is clearing out that clutter. You could be actually doing some house cleaning. Like, I have been doing house cleaning for weeks now, like different, I'm the only one with everything on my shoulders, the household tasks and everything. And I try to get the kids in on it too, but they're little and they're not, they don't do things up to my standards. So I have to go back over it. You know what I mean? So you could be literally cleaning out the clutter, like getting rid of items, or just, rearranging. I've been doing that too. Just, like breaking up stagnant energy and letting go of old energies so that you can welcome in the new. But for everybody else, this is home. This is your physical vessel. Your physical vessel is your home. It's the house of your soul while you're existing here on this plane at this time. So fuel your body. I have an issue with remembering to do that. That's the TISM speaking, but and the ADHD. I forget to eat until my body's screaming at me that I need to eat, or I start like getting in a bad mood for no reason. I'm like, what is my problem? And then I'm like, oh, I haven't eaten in a couple of days, except for a couple handfuls of nuts here and there. So I might want to put something in the old vessel. So, make sure that you're taking care of your vessel a little better than I do with mine. Do as I say, not as I do, right? But now I've been trying to get better at that. I've been working on it. I've been snacking more on my proteins to try to, yeah. So nuts, jerkies, cheese, that kind of thing. Anywho, Be consistent. Don't be like me. Be consistent. Confidently repeating the patterns. So be consistent with the patterns that you are newly programming. Okay. Don't be seduced into the old patterns. Be consistent with the new ones. Constantly feed into your experience, into your mind, into your emotions, what it is that you want to create, not what is, not what happened before, not every single person and situation that's wronged you, that's pissed you off and upset you, which there are a lot, I know, but you got to learn to let it go. Okay. You got to. Forgiveness is key. You have to let it go. You cannot continue to hold all of that stagnant, stank ass energy up in your auric field and expect to be looking all like fucking lavender locks and fucking wildflowers. Okay. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to look like this in your aura if you're holding on to that old ass energy. You're just not. You're meant to progress. You're meant to, reunion of souls. Again, like this Hood Love community card, we are all meant to heal ourselves individually and come together and continue to love and support and uplift one another. That is how we heal the world. We don't do it by knocking door to door and saying your belief system is wrong, follow me, get on the Jesus train, let's go. That ain't how it works. Okay. I know I've been kind of dwelling on the door to door Jesus people lately just because I've had so many, but y'all get it. We're meant to make progress. Okay. So let it go, forgive, even if you will never hear an apology, even if it's not from a person, specifically, perhaps it's a collective of a type of person that's always, thrown you under the bus or wronged you in some way, or maybe it's situations that just, I think this is a wonderful opportunity and I get sucked right in and then I get spit right out on my ass, whatever it is for you, let it go. Because the more you're holding on to those energies, you're going to manifest more of those situations, manifest more of those people just to prove you right. So switch the track in your mind. Get off that fucking train because you can, because you are the creator. Remember, you are the creator. You're the orchestrator of your life. So orchestrate in a way that you want to. And I know it's easier said than done. I'm still working on it myself. Okay. So I'm yelling at me too. Divine timing, joy, bottom of the deck. And then divine timing right out next to that. A card actually came out, divine timing. Your divine timing is your alignment to whatever it is that you are focused on, whether that brings negative emotions or positive ones, whether that brings lack or joy and abundance. Okay. So align yourself with the frequency that you want to experience. And okay, yes, you might have to feel like you're faking it for a little bit. Okay. You're going to need to let go of all that shit. And it takes practice to let go of bitterness and lack and all of those emotions from things that have happened to you before and people that have wronged you before and shit that hasn't turned out in your favor before. It takes practice. So be consistent. That's not it. Consistency. Right before that forgiveness. You're going to have to be consistent if you're going to fully let it go. Because it's going to take you a few times coming back around to that energy before you can fully release it. That's just a pattern of humans right now. That's just where we're at energetically, where we've been energetically, but we're moving past that, right? With all these ascension energies happening, it's forcing you to let go at a quicker rate because they're coming in left and right, constantly bombarded with these, these lighter energies. They're like, oh yeah, the light energies are coming. Why are we experiencing so much density? We're on the roller coaster of hell. That's why. Because all these lighter energies are hitting us and we're at such a low density, it is bringing us up, but also with it, it's bringing the density up to the surface so we can let it fucking go. You can't exist in higher realms of light if you're holding on to density and negativity. So when we're being bombarded with all of these light codes and these higher frequency energies, people are thinking, oh, it should be all love and light by now. No. That is stupid. You know nothing about energy. Obviously, you're more into spiritual bypassing and getting to the end goal than it actually doing the fucking work. Stop it. Or keep going. It's your choice, but you're only going to delay what you really want. Because until you face those shadows, baby, they're going to be sewn to your foot, Peter Pan. Okay? They ain't going nowhere. So be consistent, forgive, make that fucking progress, and come home again, a card of home, different deck, to yourself. Because that other shit that's keeping you down, or that other shit that's keeping you in this spiritual bypassing, that's not you. That's programming that you're still holding on to. Your authentic self would never hold on to that shit. It'll do everything that it needs to do to let it go. So dive into those shadows. Don't be afraid. Only way you're going to come into harmony with what is and with who you truly are. Harmony is balance. Harmony is different notes coming together in a beautiful way. We don't all have to be the same. That would be fucking boring. The way I do my shadow work isn't going to look the same as the way you do your shadow work. Doesn't mean that either one of us is going about it in the wrong way. It just means that that's our style. We got style, baby. We got flair. So do it, but do it in your own way. Do it with your own flair. But don't bypass. Otherwise, you're just going to be prolonging your own suffering. There's a lawnmower that's going on somewhere out there. Hopefully it's not going to bother you guys, but we are coming to the end. So duality is your friend. Contrast is your friend. We have to experience both so we can see a sharper image, so we can create what we want exactly, precisely what we want. Because until you know what you don't want, you don't really know what you do, and vice versa. You can be born with a silver spoon in your mouth, but you're still going to have problems, aren't you? So it doesn't matter what circumstances you were born into or what circumstances you've created for yourself thus far. Until you see where the problems are, you're not going to fully be able to sharpen the image and create what it is that you truly want. Death card. Let go of everything that is not you. Deprogram yourself and reprogram. Thank you, Matt. Strength card again in a different deck. Power and endurance. You didn't get this way by taking the easy road. You didn't get to where you are now by always taking the easier road. And a lot of people will come to me for a reading to know, like, okay, give me all of the aspects that you can see of each decision. You know, maybe they're at the crossroads and they're like, I don't know which way to go. Show me, what looks like what. You will be given the information on each path that your higher self and your guides want you to know. It might not be the full picture of truth, but it'll be a sliver of it. Maybe it'll be a big slice. Maybe it'll be a tiny little hair. I can't control it. You will be given truths, but maybe not the full truth, because your guides will guide you down a path if it's for your highest good, for you to learn lessons or to gain tools and wisdom to help propel you on your path. Okay? So you're not always going to make the decision that you would make had you known better. And we've all had decisions like that. Like, if I would have only known that, I would have made a different decision back then. You cannot continue to hold yourself accountable because you did the best with what you could at the time. You did the best with your intuitive nudges at the time. And your intuition may have led you down that path for a reason. I was led down that 7-year path with my ex, who ended up being, one of the biggest trauma inducing individuals of my life. And not only mine, my children's lives as well. But I was guided there. And over the course of the entire relationship, my higher self was like, watch this. See what's happening here? Observe that. And then you'll see it later on in your own interactions with this person. And I did, and I learned. And there are reasons that I regret that situation for staying for so long, so many reasons that I can say that I regret. I could kick myself. I shouldn't have, if I would have known better, if I would have, seen more clearly, if I wasn't so easily manipulated, if I wouldn't have had the seizures, I would have been able to see and remember things so that I could put the picture together quicker. I've had my moments, many of them, with regard to that situation, but I was led and guided for a reason so that I could really see it for what it was, because so many people, so many empaths will be drawn into narcissist situations, traps, okay? And I had to know how I got there and how I got out to be able to lead others through it as well. So I don't regret it. I truly do not. I regret certain aspects of it. I wish none of my children were ever harmed. But if I hadn't gone down that path, if I hadn't got pulled into that trap, that lesson, I wouldn't have my 3 amazing boys. And I could never, ever, ever feel bad about that. So we will be guided into situations to gain wisdom, to gain experience. It happened again, so I'm going to refresh my screen because I can't see anyone's comments on anywhere right now. So if y'all are commenting, I'm not ignoring you. I just can't see them. So let it go. Okay, forgive yourself and others. Whatever it takes to release that energy from your etheric field, because if you're not letting it go, you're carrying it with you. And it is always with you. But you're healing, okay? You had to go through it. You had to endure it. You had to gain that strength, that wisdom. But you know what else you can do? You can bring love into the situation. You can bring self-love and love for others, also understanding into the situation. That's what it's all about, okay? Because yes, people who are traumatized and hurt, they do that to others. Not all of them. I love Nicole. She's not here right now, I don't think. I haven't seen any of her comments, but I am not seeing anyone's comments right now, so I don't know. But our beautiful Nicole made a post, I think it was last week, talking about it's not only traumatized people who traumatize others, or it's not just hurt people that hurt others. Hurt people also help to heal others because they don't want anyone else to experience the pain that they experienced. I'm loosely, loosely butchering that one, but you get the gist. I know y'all have seen the same type of thing. Okay. So it helps to unlock a whole new level of love, compassion, and understanding when we go through certain things. Okay. And then we can help others to heal through that. And that is why so many of us volunteers, starseed, light worker, shadow worker, whatever label you want to throw on it, that's why we go through so much shit from day one. Okay. Not all of us. We all have our own missions and all of the things that we need to learn and experience in the different areas of expertise that we bring. But a lot of us have been through hell and back 18,000 times by the time we turned 7. Okay. And it sucks. And no, we shouldn't have had to experience that. No one should ever have to experience things like that. But you know what? We did it. And we chose to live that. We chose to have that experience so that we could be the fucking portal for others to get off this fucking shit carousel of a fucking planet 3D matrix, okay? And we can bring the fucking new earth to where no one has to experience that shit again. And that is love. That is unconditional love. That is the highest form of love. To incarnate specifically on a hell planet, just to come down here, experience hell 18,000 times over what normal people would probably experience, just so we can be the fucking door, that portal to help others ascend from this hell. That's unconditional love. And that's why you're here. Okay? That is why you're here. There is no one else like you. You are devoted. That card is the card of devotion, sacred worship. Worship yourself. Because, yeah, you could have made better decisions had you had the information at the time. And the fact that you would have made a better decision at that time, given more information, is exactly why you are special, why you are devoted, why you came here to help break other prisoners out of this fucking prison matrix and create a new one to bridge heaven and earth, to make it real, to make it tangible, so everyone, not just the billionaires and trillionaires that control the planet, so that all of us can experience love unconditionally and universal oneness. That's why you're here. So keep doing what you're doing. Keep healing. Keep reaching for the stars and even higher, because that's what you fucking deserve. That's what you're here to bridge. And you're here to let all the other shit go. Okay? Only you know how. That's why you are here. That's why you filled this role. That is why you are Matt or Susan or Holly or Kara or whoever you guys are that are watching, because I can't see any comments. My internet's still being funky. That's exactly why you came here, because you love unconditionally. And your existence, your big heart, the way that you help others, even whenever you are barely keeping your head above water, that's why you're chosen. That's why you're here. Okay? Don't ever forget it. Don't discount yourself. Stay devoted to your path. Stay devoted to oneness, regardless of what obstacles are thrown your way. And just know that you're divinely guided, you're divinely protected, and you're fulfilling your mission and your purpose, even in your lowest moments where you don't feel like you're doing shit. You still are. Okay? Love you guys. That is the end of the reading. I'm still not seeing any comments, y'all, so I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on. I'm seeing old ones. I just slapped that shit off your shoulder, whack. I just saw that comment, Matt. Let me see. Yeah, I'm not seeing any comments, y'all. So I'm going to go ahead and end this stream. I love you guys so much. I know you guys are putting comments up. I just can't see them. Shit's wonky. Like a damn Mercury retrograde. We got so much solar activity. We got whiteouts all over the Schumann. Okay, so I mean, referencing Steph's joke that he posted last week, bear with me. This is B-A-R-E, not B-E-A-R. I do not have a bear with me, although there was one a couple of blocks down this morning I saw on the town message board on Facebook today. So we got bears in town, so bear with me, y'all. I love you so much. Thank you for sticking around with me. I will be back tomorrow with the air and earth signs, and then Wednesday will be fire and water signs. So come and join us tomorrow. Again, I love you so much. Mwah. I'll see you guys later. Take care. Bye.